Hello everybody. So this is going to be your video breakdown for part 2 of lesson 4.1. You need to have the following pulled up. Maybe not L4.1, but I'm going to show you what you're doing in order to finish L4.1. So you need lesson 4.1 instructions, L4.1, Joyous, Belladorus by Brian Doyle, and and this is just all about visual representation. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of the screen and go right into the lesson 4.1 instructions. So here in part 2, it talks about brainstorming contrast. It tells you to return to that first paragraph in its 77-word whopper of a sentence, and you need to observe that this sentence is the longest by far, that it's not as constrained as the previous 4 sentences that were very short and direct. It goes on, almost like the writer could not control his enthusiasm for the hummingbird, elaborating and adding more detail in an ongoing sequence of clauses and phrases. So it asks you to spend about 3 to 4 minutes listing as many contrasts between the last sentence and the other 4 as you can. And then you need to consider the following features, and I would probably use a T-chart here. It works best. So you need to look at punctuation, patterns in sentence structure, unusual or unfamiliar vocabulary, words or phrases that make you see something, words or phrases that make you hear something, words that express emotion. So go ahead and pause the video, go ahead and come up with as many as you possibly can, and then I'm going to show you kind of what we've been coming up with in class. All right, so welcome back. Hopefully you paused the video, you gave it a whirl, because again, it's better if you try and then let me show you. So I'm going to move over here into my little Zoom bit so you can see my screen. And we've got a T-chart, sentences 1 through 4, and then sentences number 5. And then this is kind of what we've been coming up with. So the major contrast. Obviously 1 through 4 only has periods. It only uses periods. I used the wrong marker for that. Oh well. Here's my right marker. Okay, that'll be fine for now. And then in sentence number 5, you've got a lot of comments. Many comments. Okay. Another thing that you're going to notice, and I even said this in my right up there, is the words are very direct. It's very direct, easy words to understand. However, in sentence number 5, there's a made-up word. And when authors make up their own words, it's actually called poetic license. I think I spelled that wrong, but you understand what I'm talking about. I think it's LC and then S. It's fine. I'm going to change it anyway. There we go. So it's poetic license, and basically what that says is he could have used the real word, and that made-up word is nectarine. Nectarine was the word. Now we all know that nectar is a word. It's a noun. It's a thing. And that when they take the nectar from one flower to the next, it is called like pollinating, I believe. But he didn't like that word, and it didn't really help for the way he wanted his essay to flow as far as poetry goes. So he added the suffix ing, changing this noun. He changed the noun, and now it's a verb. It's action-packed. So it's a verb. So not only did he make up those words in that particular bit, he added a lot of action words. And the made-up word turns into an action. And there's a lot of action words there, a lot of verbs, which equals basically just way more description. So that's kind of how I kind of saw that in my head. And it looks like a math problem, but you understand what I'm talking about. And then last of all, here, notice that, I'm going to go ahead and write only here. This looks silly. He repeats a hummingbird's heart in sentences 2, 3, and 4. He repeats that same phrase in each of the beginning of those sentences. He doesn't really do any repeating here. He just throws a whole bunch of words in there, a lot of action-packed words. And the only other thing that I saw the history. A lot of history in here versus the first 4. So you can have something like that, and I'm going to kind of take what I've learned here to help build my visual representation. So I'm going to kind of come back over here and work my way through the lesson instructions. So it says visualizing contrast. I'm going to show you now how I see this to be grafted. And I know it tells you to pay attention. This is those of you that are in class and working with me, obviously, and I kind of pull some information from y'all as well. But I'm going to show you what this looks like as in drawing this graph. And it says the link of graphing and drawing will be here. That's what this video is going to, that's where this video is going to go, obviously. So once I graph this and the rest of you graph all the other ones, what you're going to be able to do with those graphs is you're going to turn them into me. And then when you turn your graph into me, I'm going to take a picture of it, whether you've turned in a regular graph or a Google Slide graph. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. And I'm going to put all of our stuff on one, either Google Doc, Google Slide, something. And then you're going to be able to go into that Google Slide and pull all of the number 2s and pull the title that you like the best and pull all the notable features that you like the best. And you get to help each other because you're only going to do one paragraph, but everybody else is doing paragraphs as well. And you're also allowed to find somebody in class that's doing the same paragraph that you're assigned and work with them if you need to. So that's why we're doing this. You're going to fill this out based off all of our visual representations done throughout the class. And I don't know why I did this, but I would actually move this line over to giving yourself more room for title and even more room for notable features. I would probably do that because I think I've already opened it and it was probably even the way it was. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out because I don't need this anymore. And I'm working here in the first paragraph. I'm going to do a representation of the first paragraph. Notice that you didn't have paragraph 1 in that chart. So this is the one I'm going to be focused on. And I'm going to go ahead and get into it. So here you see. And you see my numbers are still up here when we did through the class. So I'm actually going to put the numbers here somewhere as well. And what I think I want to do is I put them in several different places, but I kind of like them right here. So I'm going to put my numbers on my graph to remind me how I'm graphing out my stuff. And I'm going to kind of write them a little neater than I wrote them up there, or try to at least. And there we go. And you can box them, make it cute. I don't care. So now I'm reminding myself of what my numbers are. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of build a scatter graph. And I know hopefully you've all heard that term before. I'm going to build a scatter graph. And the graph is going to, I have this mirror so y'all can actually see what I'm writing here. I'm going to graph my number of sentences versus my number of words per sentence. So simple graph here, simple graph. I only have 5 sentences, so I know I have plenty to work with. And I'm going to leave my space, my room, myself space to write what my x and my y axis are going to be. So simple, nothing too major, and I'm kind of having it right here. Now, again, if you're doing this on paper, I would advise, and I've drawn this like 5 times, I would advise you to use a pencil and then do markers over top of it or colors over top of it to make it look more your own and make it look more unique. But I would do pencil first until you kind of get the lines that you want. So my x-axis is going to be the number of words. No, that's not. I did that wrong. My bad. And I'm not going to restart the video. It's going to be the number of sentences. Aren't y'all glad I teach English? So it's the number of sentences on the x-axis, number of words on the y-axis. Because with the words going up to 77, I want to see that line jump all the way up to that number of words. So I know I have 5 sentences. I'm going to start here. I know this is technically 0, but this is English, not math, so we can do a little differently. I want to start here at 1. I know 3 is going to be in the middle, 4 between them, and 2 between them. So at least I'm a little evenly parted out. And then I'm going to have at least 77 words, so I want to go and jump to the next even number, which is 80. So I have 80 there at my top. I don't really want to do 80, 70, 60, 50. That's a lot of writing and useless writing because, I mean, I'm below 20 for the other 4 sentences. So I'm just going to do 20, 40, 60, and then you have 80. So I don't know kind of where this is, but I'm going to do my best here. Doesn't need to be perfect. Good enough. Okay, so again, do it with a pencil. If you really want to take a ruler to it, that's fine, but it's English. It's just a visual representation. It does not have to be extremely accurate. So now I'm going to plot my number of words across my graph using dot points. And I'm going to choose a dark green is what I'm going to choose. So my first sentence has 7 words in it. So if this is 10, I'm guessing it's about right here. And then 8, again, is about right where 7 is. 3, kind of come up to 10 a little bit. 4, come back down to 9 a little bit. And then 5 is where we're going to go up and go all the way almost up to 70 to 80, where we have 77 words. So there's my scatter plot. All right. So next, I'm going to think about the word choice contrast between the first 4 sentences and the last. And the one thing I noticed is the pattern of sentences 2, 3, and 4, all again beginning with a hummingbird's heart. And we talked about that over here in our T-chart. So where these 4 are, I'm going to put a hummingbird's heart here because that's what represents these 4. As much to me as it does. That's what it represents to me. So a heart is red-ish. So I'm going to write, I'm going to put it in quotations because this is pulled directly from the text. If you pull from the text, make sure it's in quotations. So you've got a hummingbird's, ooh, I think that should be 2 M's. There we go. Heart, dot, 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 because that is the beginning of several phrases, so there's more to it each time you do it. And then if you want to get really fancy, you can actually put it inside of a heart or a partial heart. I don't care how you do it. Again, this is yours. You make it what you want. And then after that, unlike the first four sentences, he takes this 5th sentence and he throws so many action-packed words in it. He even takes the word nectar, which is a noun, and he throws on the suffix ing to make it a verb. Technically, it's not a real word, and we talked about that poetic license, but it suits his fancy. So I'm going to then take a lot of these action-packed words, and I'm going to put them in here to represent why this is so bulky. And it's so bulky because he's using all these action-packed words to really describe what's going on with that hummingbird. One other thing I'm going to do with it is I'm going to write the words in cursive. If you don't know how to do cursive, that's fine. Again, this is just directly subjective to this first paragraph because the way he's saying these words, whirring and zooming and nectaring and hammering, he's going on and on and on and on. He doesn't stop. So what I think of is when I go to write, I'm thinking of cursive where your pen is constantly moving and it's not really stopping. So that's what I'm going to do here to represent this 5th sentence. Those of you who get to do sentence or paragraph number 6, I know the very last sentence is like 80-something words, and it talks about bricking up your heart and the way that we use the words. So if I were doing that, I would make my words look very brick-like and almost stack them on top of each other like bricks. So it all depends on what paragraph you get and how he uses those words per that paragraph. So let me see, the words that we have here was, that I wanted to use, was whirring, and then there was, I believe, zooming, nectaring, and there was hammering. All right, so those are my words that really throw in that action-packed 5th sentence of that first paragraph. And then I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect the data points. So I need them connected, but again, this is not math, so it's not straight line, straight line, straight line, straight line. It wouldn't look right based off how he wrote the paragraph. You want to make it look a little bit more in tune to how he's writing. his mood, his tone, how he feels. So I'm going to do it more or less whirly type. So here, up, way up, back down, and then these are all connected to end here, bam. And I could get really into it and draw some vines and some leaves if I really wanted to, because you typically do see these creatures out in the wilderness. Put them in the leaves, whatever you want to do. I don't care. You can be as crazy with it as you want to. But that's just kind of what I see. So there's my visual representation grafted, but I'm not done yet. I need some imagery. So when I think about imagery, I'm going to depict the wonderful visual image that that final sentence gives us, which is pressing one's elephantine ear to the infinitesimal heart of the hummingbird, trying to hear it, which we really wouldn't hear a heartbeat. We'd hear more like a humming, the way their hearts are. So elephantine is a word. It's a word that you're not going to see very often unless you're a very avid reader, but it really just means basically an ear really, really big, very similar to that of an elephant, because they have like the largest ears, I think, on the planet. Ears, not the largest animal, but the largest ears. So I'm going to take that and kind of roll with it. And this is what I see. And I've drawn this several times, and each time I draw it gets a little bit better, but we'll see how this one goes. We have an ear. Oh, my paper moved on me when I drew. That wasn't good. All right, so here's my representation of a big old ear, right? And then I'm going to draw a little hummingbird with its heart hammering, its little infinitesimal heart hammering in its ear. So if you want to start with a heart, you can, but I kind of like starting with the hummingbird's beak. I think it's easier. So there's its beak. Here's its little heart, and it's hammering, so it's like getting louder into that big ear of it. And then I'm going to do the wings. Okay. And then I'm going to do its rest of the body to come down, bam, bam, and maybe a little eyeball there. So there's my little bitty hummingbird with its little bitty heart hammering into our elephantine ears. And I can go as far as coloring it, making it pretty. I do want you to do that, but again, I'm doing this for a video to quickly show you how this needs to be done. Last, but definitely not least, is a title. We need a title. So let's think about it this way. And you can use this sentence frame for your title as well. First of all, I need to know the paragraph. You want to put P1, paragraph 1. I like using my little paragraph symbol right there. This is paragraph 1. And here's your sentence frame. This is an expression of blank for the blank. Now, obviously, that last blank should be the easiest one for you to come up with. It's the subject of the paragraph. And no, it's not the hummingbird's heart, but it is the hummingbird itself. It's overall an expression of something, of an adjective for the hummingbird. So there's what would be placed in that particular first bit. And now what's my expression of? He's really in wow of this thing, right? He talks about how, a hummingbird's heart, but then he talks about how they're only here in America and they were first called the flying jewels and there's 300 species. So it's not just about the heart, it's a whole bunch about just the hummingbird in itself. Even the history of it and how it's worming and zooming and nectaring and hammering. So although it really does concentrate on the heart a little bit, that last sentence, bam, 77 words, it's about the whole hummingbird itself. And he's really almost in wow, but I don't like the word wow. I don't think it sounds good. An expression of wow for the hummingbird. There's a better word than that. So when I went and looked up synonyms for the word wow, one of the synonyms was like awe, and I loved that. As an expression of awe for the hummingbird, oh wow, this is crazy. This little bird can do all of this. It's an amazing thing. There's really 300 species of it. There's 300 different kinds of this one kind of bird. It's amazing. So there's my overall representation, visual representation drawn out for that first paragraph. I'm so sorry I messed that up for y'all guys. It's driving me nuts. But this is the I think this is the fourth time I've drawn this, maybe fifth. I did draw it on a piece of paper first, and I'll show you that in a minute. But the next thing I'm going to show you is all my other drawings for all the other classes. This is my most recent one. I guess I'm going to go from this side. And then I did that one. I mean, they all look a little bit different, but for the most part, they're all about the same. And then you have the very first one I did. So notice my ear has gotten better every time. Take your time with these. I'm doing these right in front of people, and it changes every time. It gets different every time. I use different colors every time. You're going to get better, especially if you use a pencil and draw it out first. Very simple drawings, like stencil type drawings, and then go over them with markers at the end. Okay, so let's go now and work on a possible representation using a Google Slide. So this is a little bit different. If you like Google Slides and you're big on using them, I highly recommend it, but it can get tedious. So first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the titles, or at least use one of them to do my numbers. So I got 7, 8, 10, 9, and 77. So I'm going to go ahead and get those in there. I don't really need it that big though, and I'm going to make this smaller so I can control it better. So maybe not 25, 15 possibly. You know, I like number 14 better. Why is it 14.5? 14. And I like things to be bolded, and I like Comic Sans. That's my favorite font probably. And I like things when they're in their own bit to be in the center. So with somebody like me, I'm going to be really nitpicky with this and really have it exactly how I want it. So I have this here. I can move it when I want to later, but at least I have it here. The next thing I want to do if I'm using this is make sure, if I probably should have done this first, but you need to make sure there's a title up here. I would use this title and then put paragraph number, whatever one you're assigned. Just so you know what this is when you look at it. Don't send me an untitled presentation that just looks sloppy. So now we're going to insert a chart, and you want a line chart. So when you insert a chart, this is what you're going to get every time. It's just a simple base chart that Google Slides presents for you. You can change this, and you're going to have to change it, obviously, and this is how you do that. You see this little link here with this little link chart options. Click on that, and you want to open the source because they've now created you a Google Sheet that directly builds this particular graph. So whatever I do here in this Google Sheet for my graph, it's going to then be represented in my presentation. And that's how you link charts and graphs that you make in a Google Sheet to a presentation if you ever want to do that for a presentation that looks really good. All right, so here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to make it a little smaller so we can see it on one sheet here. And here's all the stuff. So notice that team 1 through team 4 is my x-axis. So I can change that first off because I want sentence 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want to add 5. I just go down to the very next cell and add 5. I can add 6 and keep going, but then you need to move your graph down so you can see what you're doing. Okay. So as soon as I do something, it changes the graph and it mimics the graph. I don't need period 2. I don't need 2 lines. So I can either erase this whole column or just click the column itself and hit delete. And that line is gone now. And I don't need this. I don't need it to say period 1. So I'm going to take that off as well. And I do need to put my numbers in here of words. So I have 7 words. And then I have 8, and then 10, and then 9, and then 77. And this y-axis generates automatically for you. So from here, you do need to make this more about your own. So the way you do that is you click on the graph itself, and you have these 3 dots. And you're going to click on the dots, and you're going to edit your chart. Edit your chart here. All right, so you're in setup. Setup is fine. You have it set up the way you need it set up. So you're going to go to customize. And now we can customize all these pieces. So I'm going to go bit by bit, Border color, I'm going to go with a light green here. Theme, I can pick a theme. Again, I love me some Comic Sans. And then chart border color, I think I'm going to go with a deep brown here. And we have smooth, maximum, plot null values, compare mode. I don't know what all these mean, but I did click on each of them, and the one I do like the most is smooth. I would like you to click that, because notice what it does to the line here. It takes the line from a rigid point to more of a smooth base line, which is how paragraphs and reading is. It's more fluidity rather than it is, you know, straight and narrow. So I would highly suggest you click smooth. And then you've got chart and access titles. You definitely want to be in here. You don't really need a chart title, so don't worry about that. Point score title, you just want one title. So if you do a subtitle, you're going to have two things to deal with. So I would just keep it to just chart title. And you can title it with that title we talked about, or you can put the hummingbird's heart here, whichever one you want to do. So we can probably use this for that title that we came up with at the end. So what was it? A paragraph 1 was an expression. Maybe I should start with the actual, there we go. An expression of awe for the hummingbird. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay. I don't like the color of it though. Bam. That looks a little bit better. And what if I, let's not do that. So chart title. All right, it looks good to me. Okay, so I'm going to come back down here. We got series, line. I can change the line color. I'm going to go back to that color. I can make the dashes or dots. I like dots. I'm going to make them a little bigger, not that big. 2 I think is better. And then I can even change the point shape. So I can make each part where they come to a point, bam, 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 into diamonds or triangles or whatever I want. Too bad they don't have hearts. I can make those point sizes as big as I want as well. And then I can make that come down. You have legends. I'm not sure what that is. You can play around with it if you want to. You have the horizontal axis, which is this axis, like horizon, and I can make those bolded. I like that better. I can make those that same kind of background color as well. I can make the font larger. I always like things a little bit larger, especially so I can read it better. And then you have the vertical axis, the same thing. You can bold them, make them the same color or a different color, and obviously make that scale factor. You don't want to change the scale factor. Don't change that. That's a negative. Here's the font size. So 14 was also making them bigger. Sorry about that. And you're just constantly making this your thing. Minor grid lines, you don't need those. Major ticks, yeah, you don't need those either. Minor ticks, don't need those. So I would just do the major grid lines or no grid lines. You need the major grid lines. Those are better. And so I have that done. So I'm going to get out of that, and I'm going to come back over here into my slide. Notice it hasn't changed, but now it says update. So I need to click update for it to actually represent the change that I've done with it. So now I can put some more things to it, because I need to add the words that built to this 77 word sentence. I need to add the expression that I've pulled to represent sentences 1 through 4. So what I can do here, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and I'm going to insert. Notice this is looking a little different from my other one. What am I going to insert here? Of course they don't have a heart. I thought they did have a heart. Where's the heart at? I thought there was a heart or something I could use. Shapes. I don't see one. Oh, I do see one. I'm blind. And I'm getting there. So I'm going to place my heart here. Notice it's taking away from my grid, so I can keep it that way. I can make it red and make it stand out. And then I can write inside of it. A hummingbird's heart, dot, 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 end quote. I can change this again to what I want it to be. Again, I like to make things look more centered. I think they look better that way. That's just my prerogative. You don't have to do that. Font color. I can obviously change this. I kind of like that a lot. And I think I'm going to bold it too and make it stand out a little bit better. There we go. So here's my sentences 1 through 4, a hummingbird's heart, and now I'm going to add to that. So I think I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so I have more space to add there because I know what this is representing. And when I do that, I'm going to have to make this a little bit smaller too so you can see it. And I kind of don't like how hummingbird was 2 words there. Okay, that looks better. Now I'm going to add another shape. And I already have a heart, so I think I'm going to do... I think I'm going to do a call out. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And I only need to make one here. I only need to make one. And the background color, I'm going to do more of a lighter color, and I'm going to add my word. I'm going to add my one word, so I'm going to kind of show you like how I would kind of cheat this. I still want it in cursive, and there is cursive in here that y'all can choose. Dancing script, oh, that sounds perfect for this. And make this a little bit bigger, but I don't want to make it too big. Bold it so I can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to center it. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller because I got to add more here. Perfect size, I think. I'm going to copy this and then paste. And then take the pasted one up a bit. Paste again. Take that pasted one up a bit. One more time. And take that one also up a bit. Just there. And then I'm just going to double click into here, and this was zooming. Double click into here, this was nectaring. Double click in here, and this was hammering. Ooh, can I spell? There it goes. And the last thing I need to add would be an image. Now, when you add images, I would highly suggest you say clip art or stencil, and this is why. If I just put ear, I get actual people's ears. And that's not what I'm wanting. So I want an ear clip art, which gives me plenty of choices, or you can put an ear stencil. And the same kind of thing. I like the clip arts better, and I think I pulled something like this one, or I think I pulled that one. That was my favorite. And you want to click what you want to pull, you want to insert. So I'm going to do a different one for this particular piece. I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to hit insert because I want that right ear to a point. Oh, so it actually grabbed both accidentally. So I wonder if I can, I'm going to do this again. Inbox, search web. I want, ooh, we're going to be difficult today. Clip art. I want that one. I want to insert. There we go. I think I'm going to make this, I might need to make this a little bit, or I can pull this down. I can pull this down right here. Okay, now I'm going to have plenty of room. So again, insert, image, search the web, and now I'm going to be looking for a hummingbird, but if you just put in hummingbird, you're going to get actual hummingbirds. So you want a hummingbird clip art or stencil or tattoo. Those are going to give you some more better representations of a hummingbird. This one's really pretty, and I'm kind of using similar colors. This one too, but I need it to face the other way. I wonder if there's one that faces that way. I like that one. Insert. And then I'm going to move this down here on top, and I'm going to take this bit and angle it just a little bit. So there's that representation. Awesome. So, and it looks great. I can also add background to this if I want to. Choose an image, choose a color, just to give it a little bit more pop. Anything that you need to do to really help bring it out. You can keep that there. I probably, in all honesty, I would Now that I kind of see it, what I would probably do is this, not the style. I would take it out, and then I would use the fact that I can make this smaller, move these around a little bit, and then I would probably put my title here or down here and say that same title again. The first time I did it, this is what I came up with, because I put the hummingbird's heart here, but now I think I'd like it better here. There's a million ways you can do it, so I've done it twice, 2 different ways now. And it's really your prerogative, and I want you to be creative, and I want you to think outside the box, because this is not dry, boring, informative writing, argumentative writing. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be more relaxed and not so confined yourself. So enjoy yourself and have a good time. If you were not in class to get an assigned paragraph, you need to email me so I can assign you one. And then the last thing I'm going to show you again is on a piece of paper, on a small piece of paper, you can do this. So this is the first one I ever did on a piece of paper. I actually even colored in my hummingbird a little bit. Just take your time. I would highly advise you to use pencil first and then put the marker over top of the pencil. But that is the gist of the assignment. In Canvas, I will make a separate assignment for you to upload a picture of this for me so I can compile them all together and then give you that access to that full diagram of paragraphs 2 through 6, and you can build your chart hopefully come Monday, if not definitely Wednesday of next week. All right, thank you very much, guys. I will see you next time.